Hi everyone and welcome back to another video. So by the time this video goes out, it will officially mark 1 year on from me starting my journey into videoing alongside my wildlife photography. It's been a really good year, I'm not going to lie. When I first thought about the idea of doing videos, there was a lot of uncertainty going through my head and a bit of anxiety as well, because I wasn't sure how best to present myself within my videos as well as what content I wanted to show to you. But yeah, here we are a year on and I'm loving every minute of it. I've loved every minute of it, and I thought to mark this occasion, I would share just some of my favourite encounters from the last year and show little snippets of those videos to you as well. So to start off with, I want to go back to my first ever video actually for my channel. I felt unprepared. I really wasn't sure what I wanted to at least attempt to find or what content I wanted to produce. But I took this video camera, and I just went. I went to Home Fen. It was the first time I visited there, and it actually turned out to be a really nice experience. I came across a small family of mute swans, 2 adults, 2 cygnets, and yeah, I was absolutely amazed the first time going there, and I ended up getting some of a collection of images that were definitely my favourites at the time. So yeah, here's a snippet of what I saw. These are completely unedited in terms of how they were first produced, so I haven't added anything on top. This was just how they were recorded and published at the time. So a little bit of an ear warning, because this first one does contain some not so nice wind interference through the microphone, so apologies for that. But yeah, here is my clip from my first ever video.
This one's getting closer. There's a really good clearing next to me, but the swans are feeding the cygnets. They're coming into view, so I'm going to try and get some more pictures. So I sometimes like to look at the pictures that are taken, and this one is definitely my favourite so far. He's just reaching out for it. So yeah, I think I'm going to come away quite a happy bunny at the minute.
My next clip comes from when I visited my local nature reserve at dawn. I had an idea in mind of what I wanted to look out for, but I was completely caught unaware where there was a distant sound of a cuckoo on the reserve. So it ended up becoming a little bit of a wild goose chase. I kept listening out for the sound, trying to pinpoint where it was calling from, and then there was a little bit of a freak weather phenomenon, which you will see now in this video.
The cuckoo has been really close, so the only thing is a load of fog's come in, so there's no chance that I can even see it. It's so close, but there's just so much fog. I'm gonna try and get to a clearing which is near the path. So close. Okay, I'm going to try and find a clearing, and I'll give you an update afterwards. There's no way I can see the cuckoo now, so I'll stay in the woods for a bit longer, see what else comes along, but then I'll probably head out to the riverbank and see if it's cleared up a bit more. But yeah, it's a shame. But it just sounded so close, I thought I'd have a chance to see it, but I wasn't expecting this fog at all. So that's what happens. Oh, yeah, I'll catch up with you a bit later on. I just saw 2 cuckoos fly over, and it was calling again, so it's definitely it. Oh my god. So I didn't have an ending because I thought I wasn't going to be able to see the cuckoos again, but the pair returned and I got a picture. Oh, it's not the best, but I have my first picture of a cuckoo in flight. I'm so happy. It's by no means the best, but I can say that I've got my first ever picture of a cuckoo. Oh my gosh.
As you can see, I was absolutely thrilled to even get a picture of a cuckoo. It was my first ever sighting, it was my first ever picture. But I am actually inclined to return in the next week or so. If it is a site that it returns to, whether the pair is still there or whether it's just a female or the male, it would be nice to return to actually find out where it was calling from, if the weather behaves, and yeah, hopefully lead on to some better pictures of the cuckoo as well. But moving on, we go a little bit further into the year where I visited a reserve which is not open to the public, you have to have a permit for, and just to spend some time in the hide there. And it was at that time where I witnessed a kingfisher, a male kingfisher. I knew it was around, and once again I felt as prepared as I could. I set up on one of the perches and basically waited for this elusive kingfisher to appear, which it did, and I was very grateful that it did. And as you can probably tell from the video, having an encounter with that bird on multiple occasions, it never fails to leave me speechless. Wow. So I've been here for about an hour, and like I said earlier on, I could keep hearing at least one kingfisher calling from like different parts, and there was a moment where it was just absolute quiet. There was no other birds calling. The wind was just a light whisper basically, and then I heard a kingfisher calling, and then it got louder and louder. So I set up on the perch, and on cue this male kingfisher appeared, and oh my gosh, you just don't get over it. They're just such an amazing looking bird, and yeah, it must have sat there no more than 2 minutes, and wow, you can see on my face just how much joy it brings when you get to see a bird like a kingfisher, or just, yeah, I'm speechless. I was optimistic that I'd see something, you know, like a kingfisher, but when it happens and you're not expecting it, it just, yeah, face. Next up is my visit to Snettisham, where I wanted to witness the Wader Spectacular. And this was probably one of the first videos where I didn't record myself in the moment. I basically recorded video and a bit of audio to then talk about on when I returned. So yeah, it was a little bit different, and I think it was a little bit easier because I could just purely focus on recording the environment and recording the wildlife rather than, you know, turning it to face me all the time. So it's probably something that I'm going to push forward in future videos, especially if I'm able to show an experience with you without having my face pop up all the time. Unless it's an occasion where I'm absolutely, you know, emotional and to relay that to you. But yeah, in the meantime, I think having just, you know, you're focused on just getting the surroundings, it's a lot easier than having multiple cameras, you know, one facing me, one facing out. But anyway, here is a short clip from what I experienced when I watched the Wader Spectacular last year.
I was still making my way to an appropriate spot to set up my camera when I was suddenly greeted by multiple murmurations of Knot, which were putting on an amazing display in front of pale pink and blue skies. The shimmer of the bird's pale underside flashed as they banked and twisted with ease, and the whooshing sound of thousands of wing beats rushed to and fro and even above my head.
So for many of you who have followed me through Facebook or Instagram for quite some time now, you'll notice that a lot of my species that I photograph are very much to do with birds and not so much mammals. And I've had a few encounters with mammals over the last few years. For example, looking at the fallow deer along the Norfolk coast, and also going to places like Bradgate Park, my apologies, to look for the red stags. I didn't record that at the time because I very much like the idea of recording fully wild mammals as opposed to, you know, a park where a lot of people frequent to during certain times of the year. But yeah, anyway, I decided to go to the Norfolk coast early autumn, going into autumn time, to look for probably one of the most common mammals that you can find along almost any coastline in the UK, and that is the seal, more specifically the grey seal. So this was just as pupping season was coming around, and at the time I did see a few seal pups, but I also encountered some really good social interactions between male and females. So yeah, here's that clip for you now. So I'm rather happy I moved up because there's a lot more activity going on this side, and just as I got to this spot, a mum and a newborn pup just moved its way further closer to the sand dune, and I just got a quick picture of the pup as it moved, So I'm definitely glad I did the move. There's a lot of probably new couples getting together, they're socialising in the surf, and it's absolutely wonderful to watch. I'm sort of hoping that the mum might come back out with the pup, especially if the tide's going back out, but I'm not so confident that it will. Either the mum's moved the pup to safety, or another reason, there might be a male around that's tormenting her a little bit. So yeah, I'm definitely glad I moved. It was only 100 metres or so from where I was before, but yeah, there's a lot more activity going on down here, so lots more pictures and lots more videos hopefully to be taken as well. So the next video goes back to where I'm only recording what I'm seeing and talking over it afterwards. And this is where I spent a whole day in a hide photographing buzzards and red kites. Again, it was different to the way I usually go out to look for wildlife rather than sitting in one place for a long amount of time undercover. I am often walking around and seeing what I find. So this is definitely a different technique in terms of getting wildlife imagery, but I enjoyed it nonetheless to be so close to some of our birds of prey. It was a really, really wonderful experience. So again, another little clip of what I got to see that day.
It was quite quiet at first, so I took this opportunity to photograph some individuals in portrait mode. It was nice to get so many of the little details of the feathers and of the eyes and the beak. As the morning progressed, more and more buzzards started to fight each other, and the red kites that were circling around were trying to get a feed for themselves. But this is where it began, that so much activity started I didn't know where to point my camera. I took each opportunity as it arrived to me, and I ended up getting some of my most favourite videos and pictures of the buzzards interacting with each other.
So I'll follow on the trend of mammal photography for my next video, and this is where I returned to a hide that I did earlier on in the year, and it wasn't unexpected because I knew that this species were around in the area, but I just wasn't expecting them to show up within minutes of me arriving. And that was a family of Eurasian otters. It was one mum and two cubs. Yeah, completely, as you'll probably tell in the video, I was speechless. I was sort of living the moment, sort of computing what happened. And yeah, once again, I was thrilled to get images as well as video to put together. So yes, I shall play that for you now. I don't think I can put into words what I've just seen. I was aware that they would be here, but I was expected to be waiting hours. Because with wildlife it's so unpredictable, you just got to go and just be patient and wait. And I haven't been here for, it's about a quarter of an hour now. And to see them pretty much straight away, it's just wonderful. I can't put any more words into it. So coming to towards the end of my selection of favourite moments from the last year of recording. This was over the course of a few weeks. I have mentioned that I have a field out the back of my house, which is used for farming, and currently at the minute they are growing crop. So this species I'm not able to see as well as I was those few weeks ago. And that species being the brown hare. There's been up to 4 individuals that have been across the field before it was ploughed and before the seeds were put in. So I took the opportunity to sit out the back of my house and just to witness them. And I ended up getting some wonderful moments where one hare in particular came in really close, and once again just completely blown away that I could be so close to, a mammal of that size, and normally one that's quite timid and not one, to stay out in the open for too long. So yeah, here is a bit of that clip for you now.
God. I was really worried that I wouldn't get much more video this morning, but I'm nearly crying. That one hare just came in so close. I don't know how well you could see it on the phone video I took. He's still there at the minute. I'm speechless. I was so happy when I got the first few pictures a couple of weeks ago. But and then that one he came by once. I didn't get the video that I really wanted to because he came in so close that I couldn't zoom out in time and I couldn't get the focus. And then he went to the forest to join 2 others, and then he just came out again and was so close I just couldn't believe it. He's still there eating, so I've got video and footage, and it just goes to show that, being dedicated to what you love, it pays off dividends. And yeah, that was just amazing to witness.
And finally, my last clip to show you for my 1-year anniversary of being on YouTube is one from my most recent video where I came across a family of goose-sanders. Again, I was just completely blown away that, I was in the right place at the right time. And once again, it just goes to prove if you have your camera on you, it's just worth doing wherever you go. I initially went there just to, have a break, to be with myself for a bit. And yeah, this encounter happened. I won't show the whole of my reaction. You can find that on my previous video, but it was a little snippet of what I got to see that day. So yeah, that's just some of my favourite memories and encounters that I've had over the last year of recording, and I don't see it stopping anytime soon, to be honest. I'm really grateful that I took the plunge to do this and to see how many people have engaged with my work, how many are now following me through YouTube or finding me through my Facebook and my Instagram. It's just a wonderful thing to be a part of, and like I said, I don't see this stopping anytime soon. I do have a few ideas / projects in mind, which I'll go through with you now actually. So recently I got in contact with a farmer not too far from here to ask for permission to access some of his land, which he agreed to, so I'm very keen to get out there in the next couple of weeks, more or less to scout out the area rather than just take my camera and see what happens. It'll be interesting to see if I can find any, you know, signs of certain species, whether that's birds or mammals, and yeah, just to see what's happening in that local area, because it's one that I've driven by so many times, and I always wonder, you know, what could be in there. So I'm very grateful that I've been given permission to access that land, and I'm very much looking forward to seeing what's there. And going on later in the year, I'm hoping to go to the Norfolk coast a number of times to find certain bird species that frequent to the coast around summertime. I'll leave you to think of what that species could be. And yes, going forward a bit more in the year, mid-August time, I'm returning to the Isle of Mull, as you can probably see on my top. I have done a recording, I have done a video of my last trip there last year, but it wasn't so much, you know, recording in the moment. Once again, it was just getting some B-roll footage and then me talking over it when I'm back home. But what I'd like to do is actually record in the moment and possibly make a little mini series, you know, to talk about where I've been and hopefully record some of the wildlife that I encounter there as well. So I've got a couple of things lined up already, and I'm just looking forward to getting out there and once again creating content to share with all of you. So that just leaves me to say thank you so much for watching this video. If you like my work, you can see more of my images through my Facebook and my Instagram under Pinfold Photographic. You can also see more of my images on my website, which is pinfold-photographic.co.uk. If you'd like to further support my work, you can either visit my Etsy shop where I sell prints of my images as well as some stationery wear, or you can visit my Ko-fi page under the same name to send a small donation which goes towards my travel and my equipment costs. All the links are down in the description below. Once again, thank you so much for watching, and I shall see you all very soon. Bye-bye.